Welcome to another episode of Video Store Rejects. This is a podcast where we discuss directors' filmographies one film at a time and our favorite film franchises. Today, we are closing out our Wes Anderson series. We are leaving the whimsical world of Wes Anderson behind. We're looking at it in the rearview mirror. We are covering his current and latest film, The French Dispatch.
And what a
And
fun, mundane drive it has been.
and joining us again, I guess our unofficial co-host for the month of January is Robbie Fleming. Robbie, thank you again for coming in and just agreeing to be a guest on a show when we didn't have a guest.
It's okay. Well, I kind of have a love for this movie because I saw it in cinema when I started my job at the cinema. And after seeing it twice, it is still my second favorite Wes Anderson film. With
Oh, wow.
still being number one.
So I got...
Yeah. It's Moonrise Kingdom, then French Dispatch, then Isle of Dogs. So it's my top three Wes Anderson films.
Cool.
I got a quick question before we start talking the movie. Since you say you work in a cinema, did they actually have any wide releases this weekend in the UK? Because there is nothing coming out this weekend.
No, we just had Sing 2. That's our latest release. I was a little bit annoyed that we didn't have Parallel Mothers, so I might have to wait for that on home release.
Man.
And so I am your host, Cody House, and with me is my co-host, Chris Jacobs, the social media content guru on the Facebook page. And at some point, our research extraordinaire and fact checker, Lindsay Jacobs, will be joining us. So let's get into it. This movie was originally supposed to come out summer of 2020. It was going to be my birthday movie, but it got delayed because of this pandemic that's been going around. Got delayed to fall, then got delayed again, and then had its premiere last year at Cannes, which it garnered mostly positive buzz from Cannes, but then when it got released over here in the US in the fall, it kind of got a mixed reaction. It's still mostly positive, but I feel like the people who like this movie are people who like Wes Anderson.
It was quite a hit over here as well in the UK.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe Europe likes Wes Anderson more than Americans like him.
I don't know what it is, but I just have a feeling because it's like Wes Anderson is one of them directors you can easily bring up and somebody can just pop out. Yeah, Royal Tenenbaums. Yeah, Moonrise Kingdom. Yeah, Grand Budapest. Yeah, The French Dispatch.
Because I
sure honorary Brit anyway.
Well, doesn't he live in France?
Yes, so I think that's why he got the idea for this movie, which was originally meant to be intended as a musical.
Really? Wow.
That would.
I did not. What's interesting is this is kind of an ode to things like The New Yorker. Like, he's very much inspired by American journalism, even though it's in a fictionalized France town. But it's Americans doing, because most of these characters are American and they're mostly American actors.
And Bill Murray's the editor.
Yeah.
He's the most important character in the whole film.
He is, because he's a good editor for a news publication because he supports his talent, even though he doesn't always agree with their expenses. Mm-hmm. And like, he supports their stories, even though he's like, you need to add this in, and can't you put something nice in here?
He was my favorite part. He was my favorite, I think.
I'm gonna say this movie wasn't exactly what I thought it was gonna be when I saw the initial trailers. I thought it was gonna be.
What do you think it was going to be?
I thought it was gonna be more about the actual paper and magazine, like, which it still is, and I do like how he structures it as like you're reading the magazine, like how the stories play out.
That's what I liked about it, because it felt different.
But I thought it was going to be more of like a rat-a-tat-tat comedy he's done before with the dialogue, and it'd be about like the magazine and them trying to get an issue published or something.
I really liked this format, though. I loved that it was him going to each writer or each journalist and like them giving, a story, and I loved it. I loved all of it. Again, still not like probably my favorite of his. I don't think it's like, I don't know, but they all popped. Each one popped in its own way, and but I liked the overall way he told it, and how each one was set up like a story out of their magazine, like with the illustrations and stuff like that, and how it moved from each story.
Yeah. So the question I wanted to ask is, who was everybody's favorite story out of the three?
I'm a mix-up between Benicio del Toro's the first story.
I normally refer to them as Tilda, Francis, or Jeffrey because they're the reporters.
That's right. Yeah, I'm trying to exactly remember who did what. It's still like really fresh. We watched it kind of late last night. So
for people who don't know, Tilda is the reporter of the first story, which is about art. The second story is by Francis about politics, and the third one is Jeffrey Wright about cooking.
It's a
well, kind of about cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a toss-up between Tilda and Jeffrey for me.
Yeah, I think the same. I do think
my least favorite was Frances, and that's sad because I really love Frances McDormand and her stuff.
She's one of my all-time favorite actresses.
Yeah, but that one just was the weakest to me, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that because I'm going to agree that's the weakest one, so I guess it makes sense to put it in the middle.
Timothée Chalamet's performance was really good.
I mean, he does what we've seen Timothée Chalamet do before. I mean,
he does act really good apart from Little Woman.
I kind of refer to him as the Johnny Depp, like
he does kind of have young Johnny Depp vibes, and it's interesting that he's going to be playing a young Willy Wonka.
Yeah, like Johnny Depp's there, and he can do all those roles, but he's just Johnny Depp, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like Timothée Chalamet is there, he can do all these roles, but he's just Timothy. Like he's good, he can pull it off, but
there's actually an actor around the same age as Timothy who's in this film. He's also in The Last Duel, but he's more well known in Britain, and his name's Alex Lawther. I think he's a much better actor than Timothy.
I would agree. I mostly know him for his television work.
Yeah, he's brilliant TV actor.
End of the Effing World, and then his Black Mirror.
And yeah, that Black Mirror episode is what got me into him.
But yeah, I would agree. I think he played. Didn't he play A.A. Mills' son in that Winnie the Pooh movie with Domhnall Gleeson?
I need to see that one actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I think he definitely has a more versatile range than Chalamet.
Yeah.
But he's probably not considered a handsome person like people are obsessing over Chalamet over.
I'll tell you what he would be good as. He'd be good as a young Voldemort in a Voldemort spin-off movie.
Yeah, let's not make that, but yeah, he could do that.
If it's got the right script, it can be done.
I guess
He's got to be dark though. He's got to be taking out younglings, left and right.
It's just me personally. I have aversion to prequels like that because you already know what's going to happen, so there's no suspense.
I'm not really big on Fantastic Beasts though. So
no,
I feel like it can be unnecessary at times.
The first Fantastic Beasts was decent, but the second one it
was going in the right direction.
Went off the rails. Yeah, the second one was just wild.
Yeah, but I have hopes about this third one because the trailer looks really good.
I think they're in cleanup mode, and they're gonna probably try to clean it up a lot.
We'll see. I'm hesitant because it's still David Yates directing, it's still J.K. Rowling script writing. I would like to see someone else tackle the script and maybe get a different director.
Yes, I've been saying that for years because we've had Alfonso Cuarón and Chris Columbus, who are imaginary direct. Alfonso is one of the greatest directors ever.
Chris Columbus needs to take it back, I think.
I think
both of them could be showrunners. That would just be awesome.
Yeah, I think they're
the Harry Potter reboot. The only thing I would say is no J.K. Rowling involved.
Right. Yeah. Which I don't know what they do with that. But I think it's interesting. We all say the same story's the weakest, and I think it's interesting, and maybe it was put in the middle on purpose because you want a good opening and a good closing.
Right. I could see that.
I'm going to say my favorite story is the Jeffrey Wright one. One, because Jeffrey Wright's one of my favorite actors. Two, there's a...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going. I didn't mean to cut you off, Cody. Go
ahead. Yeah. Two, there is an animation chase sequence, which is just really well done. And I love Duplot's score in this segment.
Duplot's score is probably the best thing about this movie.
I could also listen to him read a book. I mean, Jeffrey Wright, his narrating was really well done to me. I did think... I thought that the animated sequence it was great and I loved it, but a part of me was like, oh man, I really wish he had done some stop motion in that. Like, it would have been great to have that stop motion, and it would kind of fit his other movies too, because he does a lot of stop motion stuff. It was refreshing to see the animation, and I enjoyed it.
Well, he's doing the animation style of like what you would see in a New Yorker cartoon or something. Like if you see like Jason Schwartzman.
I got it, and I saw the reference. Like it was like, and that was another favorite part was Jason Schwartzman like doing the illustrations. Like I love the turkey cracked me up. He was like, "No, I need a realistic turkey."
You know what's fun about the second story? There's a picture of Bruno Del Bono, and I'm hoping he does the cinematography for a Wes Anderson film one day.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering with the animation, even though it's a ode to the New Yorker, I wonder if he's like just playing with like, well, they're probably going to do a Criterion Collection disc of this eventually because almost all his movies have gotten a Criterion treatment. And he's like, let me just go ahead and give Criterion an idea of how to do the artwork.
Right. Like, here you go. Just go ahead and do it all in one, But
what's good about the cast is that they're not overhyped. Don't like the cast of Don't Look Up.
Well, I mean, this is a all-star cast, but these aren't superstars, right? These are just well-known actors.
I don't know. Benicio del Toro is kind of a superstar in his own way, and so is Timothée Chalamet.
In a way, but not like Leo and Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep.
Right.
I don't know. Tilda and Frances are near the same level as Meryl Streep.
For sure. But it's also a smaller movie. It's a smaller movie. It's a more niche audience. It's, like you have to kind of already want to see this, and you expect the familiar faces to show up.
I didn't watch every other Wes Anderson movie to not look forward to this.
And it's surprising how many people he got to come back and just do like these little bit parts, He got, Edward Norton's just a kidnapper and Willem Dafoe's just a poor guy that gets arrested.
Yeah.
I feel like Bill Murray has more of a role in the third one as well.
Well, for sure, yeah. And it kind of shows how much of a champion he is for his writers and
I kind of want
his.
the Owen Wilson bit to have been its own short film.
For sure, it could have been a lot. Like it could have been like a segment of itself, like with the Darjeeling Limited one with Schwartzman and Natalie Portman.
Yeah, like that. That would have been perfect for Owen Wilson's bit.
Yeah, I did. His was shorter. That segment was a lot shorter, but I did enjoy it. Like it was pretty great. Like the wild youth coming out at night and beating on. But I like that was probably one of my favorite visual shots was you see that one shot of the town and he's like all of a sudden whatever the name was comes alive and then you see the water start pouring out, you see a dog walk by, it's like picture perfect and the windows fly open and everybody just comes out with their bread carts and it just kind of springs to life. Like I love that. Like visually, it was just awesome. Like just the way it just opened up. It's pretty cool.
I think the thing this movie also shows me, because you see the stage version of in the Francis story about the guy that quits the military and burns up his card, and then just the design of the office of the French Dispatch. Like, why hasn't Wes Anderson done a stage play? He looks like he would love to do a stage play.
Maybe
like
because he doesn't have the money to afford all the big set design. And
probably it would cost too much for sure, but I feel like there's the theater kid in him. Like, I wonder if he did a lot of theater in his youth.
I thought his thing would be more art.
But the way he production design sets up his set is almost like how you would see a play.
Think about it, there is a couple of plays in Rushmore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's I mean, interesting, adaptations into plays of Serpico and a Vietnam war movie.
I think one day we'll just have to rank all of Bill Murray's performances in Wes Anderson films.
This is probably one of my favorite Bill Murray's, and
I think my favorite performance of him in the Wes Anderson film is Rushmore because I like how he plays the shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you could argue because he does have more to do in those films, but this one was just so subtle, and again, what Cody pointed out, just the way he loves his staff and supports his staff, and loves the magazine, although he was.
He didn't like that bloke who cried in his office.
Like you were fired, But what's that, Robbie?
He didn't like the bloke that cried in his office.
Yeah,
no crying.
Especially on that is the most iconic scene from the film.
Yeah, no crying. That was pretty great. I did like when they brought the cake in, like when he's laying on the on his desk. And Wolf is like, "Oh, I'll have some." Like everybody just takes a slice of cake and he's laying out dead on the table.
Is it Francis or Tilda? That I think it's Francis. It's like, don't light the candles. He's dead.
It's a really sad ending when they're all like gathered in the room and he's dead. That's just sad.
It is, but there's always a bit of melancholy in a Wes Anderson movie. Like, even though these are usually fun and
Royal Tenenbaums has a sad ending as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though you gotta love that thing that's on his tombstone.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
Was the first Wes Anderson film I watched.
I think it is for a lot of people. It's either between that and Rushmore that people saw.
Mine. Like I bought it. I was at the video store and they had the Criterion Collection on sale. It was like $5.99 or something like that. It was extremely cheap. Well,
wow.
It was used. Yeah, it was a used in the used section, but it was still like the Criterion Collection, and I was like, oh, cool. Now, this is way before I even knew what Criterion Collection was, but it was the art that got me. I was like, oh, this is interesting because, I'm kind of an amateur artist myself, and I've always kind of been into art and stuff. And when I say amateur, I still know nothing about it. But anyway, it's fun to dabble in. And I saw the art on it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I went home and watched it, and I was like, that is the strangest movie I've ever seen. But something about it made me go back and watch it again. Like something, it was like my brain was like, I don't know what it is, but you really appreciate this film. So I was like, cool. And yeah, that was my first experience with Wes Anderson. So go Tenenbaums.
So why do you guys like the concrete masterpiece the best, told by Tilda Swinton?
I just liked how Benicio del Toro is this madman trying to seek redemption and becoming a great artist.
Yeah, like,
and also that scene where she's doing the presentation and there's a picture of her naked. That's just hilarious. I could not stop laughing at that bit.
Yeah, I liked all of it, man. Again, because I like art, and this had to do with art, and I thought it was great the way that, spoiler alert, that he painted this set of paintings on the wall that was confining him. I thought that was great and hilarious, because he, what's his name? Adrian Brody is just going on and on and on. And his character was funny, but just so annoying because he was just he talked so fast and was so insistent. And he was going on and on and on. And then he walked up and realized that it was on the wall. And it just totally just went batshit crazy. And I thought it was hilarious. He did it really well.
Adrian Brody is one of the greatest actors ever.
I love how he bribes the guard with like fancy chocolate when he's in prison.
Yeah. But and his growl that he did when he got upset, like when he switched, was hilarious. I laughed so hard at that. I was like, oh my gosh. That's great. When Adrian Brody's just sitting there and he's talking to him and he starts growling at him like a dog, and I'm like, oh man.
Have you guys
I was waiting for him to kill him.
Have you guys ever seen The Pianist?
I have not seen that film. That's what he won his Oscar for.
That's a damn good movie, but it's along the lines of Schindler's List. So it's really hard. It's a hard watch, but it's really good.
Well, it's not like Life is Beautiful that has a bit of comedy to it.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie, too.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that since VHS days.
Surprise Oscar win there. Roberto Benigni winning Best Actor.
Have you not seen Life is Beautiful, Cody?
Oh, yeah. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it like back when it came out on VHS. I haven't seen it in over 20 years, but I don't think anyone thought he was going to win the Oscar, though, when he won.
Did they think it was going to be Tom Hanks for... Did they think it was going to be Tom Hanks for Saving Private Ryan?
I mean, I can't remember. I can't tell you what the Oscar pool was like that year. I mean, that's also the year everyone was like, how did Saving Private Ryan not win Best Actor? Best Picture.
That should have gotten Best Picture.
Oh, it should have.
Yeah.
So
that's still in my
But I do remember people being upset that they didn't nominate Jim Carrey for The Truman Show.
Yes, I kind of agree on that one.
I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
How come Jim Carrey's not done a Wes Anderson film yet?
Maybe he's just too much to work with. Yeah, I've heard he's difficult to work for.
No.
He Wes or Jim?
Have you seen the documentary about Man on the Moon?
Briefly.
I liked the movie. The movie was great. But holy crap.
Looking at the guys that were up when Benigni won was Tom Hanks for Saving Private Ryan, Ian McKellen, which is a fantastic performance in Gods and Monsters,
I will check
Nick
that one
Nolte for Affliction. It's a good performance. And Edward Norton, who's in this movie for American History X.
Ooh.
Yeah, Norton was fantastic in American History X. I need to
He
rewatch.
was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are three really good performances, and then Tom Hanks doing solid work as always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think second would have probably been Edward Norton out of them.
Mm-hmm. But my favorite bit in this movie is when Brody's character gets out of prison and he's showing the artwork to his uncle, and I think it's Henry Winkler, and I think it's funny.
Bob Balaban are his uncles,
And he's like, "Am I too old? Like, is he like, am I too old to get this or think it's cool or good?"
This reminded me. I still need to see Gosford Park.
Yes, you need to watch Gosford Park. It's great. If you love murder mysteries, it's so good.
I've been I've been trying to find more murder mysteries, so I might give that a chance.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's got a great cast. So
Stephen Fry and Helen Mirren are in it, and they're two of Britain's best actors.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a fun story, and I like that it ends in a prison riot, and that's how Benicio del Toro gets released, because he saves the people and the guards from the riot.
Yeah, he's just standing there like growling, like yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cody. I
like,
just had a thought about Stephen Fry being in a Wes Anderson movie one day, because I think that would work.
Totally would work. Yeah, Stephen Fry would be great in a Wes Anderson film.
A lot of British actors would.
Yeah. Well, we've said this in the past. One of our guests, Sarah Ragsdale, brought it up. Is Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson's dad worked for a PBS affiliate out in Dallas, Texas, and the PBS station in Dallas was one of the first PBSs to get the British comedies like Mighty Python and Fawlty Towers and stuff like that. And yeah. I feel like there is a kind of a dry sense of humor in Wes Anderson's films that is kind of like British comedies.
Yes.
Where you have to pay attention to the dialogue, like to get the joke, like you have to hear it. And it's delivered in a fashion where you're like, if you're not paying attention, you won't know that it's funny to you. You'll just be like, oh, okay.
A lot of comedy is influenced by Fawlty Towers and Monty Python. Is that all they watched back then?
I mean, those were big things, I think, especially in the 70s, especially over here in America, because people loved John Cleese. And
my dad said that he used to tune in, like it'd be on the weekends, but on the local PBS stations back in the 70s and 80s, and watch like Monty Python and there was another, like Benny Hill, I think, is one that
Benny Hill was huge over here. Yeah.
So he remembers tuning it, like finding it on PBS and stuff back in the day. That's how he got his Monty Python fix, you know. So,
but it's mostly PBS's fault for making British comedies so relevant.
How many James Bond actors are in this movie?
Well, there's Lea Seydoux, who's in the first story, who's in 2 Bond films. I'm trying to think who else has been in Bond movies. There's no James.
Benicio's been in one, hasn't he?
Right, he was in License to Kill. That's right, as a very young. There's no James Bonds in this movie. No, Christoph Waltz, who's Blofeld. Jeffrey Wright, who's Felix. I think that what is that actor's name? He's the guy who they kidnap his son. He's the bad guy in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what he was good in, Sound of Metal.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. It was so good. And he was good in it.
Yeah, I've seen that movie twice. It is really good.
So is there anything else on this first story we want to bring up that we like about it? I think it's a really fun and
Lois Smith puts on a good performance.
oh yes, is the rich American who has the art gallery in Kansas, which Bill
Yeah,
Murray's
the
character is also from.
Yeah. So she kind of drives Tilda into the story, and that's what I liked about Tilda's role in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my favorite, another joke I love in this one is when he's trying to get paroled and he's like, I didn't mean to murder those people. And the judge is like, you decapitated them with a saw.
Yeah, with a meat
Well,
saw.
the first one was an accident, but the second one was self-defense.
Yeah. Yep.
And Thingy from Spider-Man plays the younger version of Benicio del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which I
like that transition.
I do as well.
That was really well done, where it's kind of like a passing of the torch, even though it's just like him aging. It's kind of like saying goodbye to your younger self as you get older.
Yeah,
that was funny. That was.
Yeah, this is a really funny and kind of sweet story.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's why it's a toss up between, Tilda and Jeffrey for me, because they're both really, really well done.
So let's work out why the second one is the weakest then.
I think it's the weakest because it's not as fun as the other two.
Don't you feel like it's a bit rushed?
Yeah, I feel like it's like wham bam, okay, we got to get to here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you connect with the characters as much either in this one.
No.
Do you think there was stuff that he had to cut out to shorten it? Maybe that's why it feels rushed. Like he was like, this is the longest one. Like maybe when we do get the Criterion Collection, we'll get an extended middle section. But
yeah.
Also, I think
it literally gives a term: first good act, bad second act, good third act a run for its name. This film does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just heard Guillermo del Toro talking about film structure, and he's like, you always hear, oh, you gotta open with a really good opening, and sometimes it's a bit boring in the middle, but then if you can get them in the ending and get a great ending, you got them.
Described my opinion on Nightmare Alley.
And that's how he's structured. Well, there you go.
Does that movie got better as it went along?
I also think it might be just Frances McDormand's. Not that it's a very good performance, but I think it's just the style of her character and her writing. Because, like,
her performance in Moonrise Kingdom is better. She's phenomenal in that.
Mm-hmm. Because Tilda's a little bit loosey and she's like having a drink.
Tilda's better in this movie than Moonrise Kingdom.
And then you got and then you got Jeffrey Wright, who's just a great narrator, and like he's more involved.
Did you ever think he was going to say, "I am the Watcher"? So when I was watching No Time to Die, I was thinking, "Hello, James Bond, I am the Watcher."
I mean, that's perfect casting, but I mean, Frances McDormand's character and her writing is like very matter of fact and to the point, so it's a little colder delivery.
Is it because she likes younger men?
Well, it's okay. We've been talking about this.
What does Wes Anderson's wife? Is she older than him?
I don't think so, but he did have a crush on one of his teachers growing up, which I guess is kind of the inspiration for Rushmore.
That explains Rushmore, and that probably explains this movie as well.
Look, this is the way Old me probably would have laughed it off and was like, okay, ha ha ha. You know, he's getting the older chick, you know, he's getting with the older chick or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I know it's a story, but like it's kind of oogie. I don't know. It's just personally oogie. It's kind of like James Bond. We're talking about Roger. We're going through James Bond in another show, and we're talking about Roger Moore being in his 50s and wooing and seducing these young girls that are in their 20s, you know. And I get it. They whatever, they might consent to it, but I don't know. It's just kind of personally oogie.
Yeah.
And that was my only issue with it. Was I don't know, it felt not really predatory, but just kind of like, ooh, man.
I remember the time I first watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I felt a bit weird that Johnny Depp was having an affair with Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, you know, it's just, it's one of those things, you know. That was the only issue that I had with the middle part, you know. It was just.
I'm not against weird like long like age gaps, but in some films they do kind of show it to be a bit unpleasant.
Yeah,
I think it's also because, you know, he's a university student and he also looks younger than his actual age.
Yeah,
because he is like 26 or 27 years old, but he looks
he's younger than me, so I think he's 26.
But he looks like a child.
Like,
because did you question that it's almost a 20-year age difference between Benicio del Toro and Léa Seydoux in that first story?
No, that's, you know, that's questionable too. Like, how old
well, I mean, also because prison guard relationship there too.
All of that was oogie as well. Like, that wasn't like their whole their relationship part. And I'm glad you brought that up, Cody, because honestly, thinking about it, yeah, that was kind of like, how old is this guard supposed to be? You know, and
yeah.
He's on up there.
But to answer your question, Robbie, Wes Anderson's wife is 6 years younger than him.
Sound.
And hey, listen, while we're on this subject, and then we can move on. The reason why maybe it's become more, it's like I've been noticing that more, is because there is a movie called My Father the Hero that you need to look up and read the synopsis, and how we ever thought that was a good idea is beyond me. But read the synopsis and you'll understand what I mean.
I'll do that now. What's My Father the Hero?
My Father the Hero with Gerard Depardieu. Is that his last name? Depardieu.
1994. French-American comedy.
Katherine Heigl, is in this. She plays like, he pretends to be her lover, and he's actually her dad. Because
a teenage girl vacations to the Bahamas with her divorced dad trying to pretend he's her boyfriend.
Yeah. It's gross, dude. And it was sold as a comedy, and people, you know, I'm like, I don't understand it, but I don't know. It's weird.
Okay. I can tolerate films with some like serious subject matter, but this just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it's borderline like pedo. It's just weird. Anyway,
I guess it's a forgotten film because it's only got 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't think I'd ever heard of it till just now.
It'll probably be in like free with your morning paper, or it'll probably be free on YouTube.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, it's a thing, and we need to get to a point where, look, I don't have anything against there being age differences in leads as long as they're both adults and it's, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But we also need to be okay to give especially older actresses still those type of roles. if you're gonna cast a 50-year-old man, then don't be afraid to put a 45-year-old woman or 50-year-old woman as his romantic lead.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, because I'm looking forward to that new film with Jim Broadbent, The Duke, and at least it's nice to see that him and Helen Mirren are similar ages.
Yeah, I remember when the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair came out, and everyone was like, I can't believe they made a movie with two 40-something-year-olds like in this, but like it's refreshing.
Pierce Brosnan and who's the lady?
Renee Russo.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Who has a similar role to this in Nightcrawler? Because I swear that she has a fling with Jake Gyllenhaal's character in that movie.
Well, she does, but it's not like it's a little predatory on Jake Gyllenhaal's character that they do have that going on.
Yeah.
Even though he's the younger person in the scenario.
Although he's probably a little bit old enough.
Well, I mean, he at that time he's in his late 30s, so he's an adult man.
Exactly, so it works with that kind of scenario.
I think this one is just, it feels rushed. You don't really quite connect with the characters. I do like the young actress that plays Juliet, even though she kind of is just a caricature in this movie, in this story.
And Alex Lawfer steals the show. In that one.
Who steals the show?
Alex Lawfer, the guy we were on about earlier from Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. But is there anything else on this one we want to talk about?
No, let's move on to Jeffrey.
Okay, I absolutely, this is my favorite one. I like how it's kind of him being interviewed, telling the story, and then he's also, but then he's also, it goes into how he wrote it and like how he met Bill Murray too. Like it's got a little bit, but I love that it's supposed to be like about this master chef, and then it turns into like this kidnapping plot.
And I've seen this some brilliant animation.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why there's a strong man there, but that bit's funny. And I love that it's not just a car chase sequence. There's a chase on foot. They go under a sewer.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of Third Man vibe to it in that sequence. I also love when like Edward Norton kidnaps the kid, like he like just slowly descends down and then slowly descends back up.
I preferred the Third Man to Citizen Kane.
Oh, me too. But Orson Welles didn't direct The Third Man. That is considered the greatest British film ever made, if I remember.
A great director, in my opinion.
He is, even though I've only seen 2 of his films.
Is the other one Oliver?
Oh, did he direct that? Then
Yeah.
I've seen 3 of his films.
What's the
I've
third
seen Odd Man Out with James Mason. It's a really good spy thriller.
James Mason from Lolita. That's the right James Mason, right?
Yeah, that James Mason. Talk about another movie that I don't know why they thought was a good idea.
Yeah, that movie, we don't want to talk about that one.
Are you sitting next to Benicio del Toro? Cody?
Yeah. How'd you know Benicio? Me and Benicio are buds. How'd you know?
Nice.
Tell him he was good in 21 Grams, because he's great in that movie.
I will.
Awesome.
Also tell him that I loved him in Sin City and Traffic.
I need to rewatch Traffic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Traffic since he's so good.
It's one of the movies you kind of forget about after a while.
Oh, I think it's one of Soderbergh's best.
He is a master.
Yeah, I like how he's just cranking movies out for HBO now. It's like, here it is.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch the Full Oceans trilogy.
The what trilogy?
The Oceans trilogy.
Oh, they're fun. I like all those movies.
Even 4?
Yeah, I didn't even mind the Sandra Bullock one. Yeah, I could have done without your boy James Corden though.
No, he was not needed. He was just plonked in because he's James Corden. Wes Anderson smart, so he'll never cast James Corden.
Yeah, hopefully not. What do you guys like about this one, the third story?
The animation, Jeffrey Wright's voice,
His whole
Norton, Charisse
narration.
Rowan, the chef bloke, he was hilarious. Willem Dafoe, obviously, and you got to see more Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who does Jeffrey Wright a solid, and it's like
Yeah, I think with Willem Dafoe on this one, he was in it for like the right amount of time. I think he should have been in Nightmare Alley a bit more.
I mean, I guess that's always going to be a complaint with me in every movie he's in. I need more Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Speaking of Willem Dafoe, I introduced my wife to Platoon the other day.
Oh,
we have to finish it because kids started coming in, and we're like, nope, we gotta stop it.
Yeah. You have to wait till they're 15 then.
Yeah, now this is the whole thing. We get into this sometimes. Like, I was watching Platoon when I was young. I was watching a lot of rated R movies growing up, and with my parents, like in the 80s, they watched every Vietnam movie that came out. My dad would rent one. Hamburger Hill, Platoon.
Nothing beats Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now. Just like everything that had to do with Vietnam or a war movie, he would rent it. And
does he like the Deer Hunter?
Oh yeah, the Deer Hunter. Yeah, I remember watching that the first time I rewatched it when I was older. Like, I'd always play.
The second go of the Deer Hunter, you really get more into it. That's a bit boring on the first watch.
Man, after I watched that movie, I went through wasn't really a slight. It was. Maybe it was a slight depression. I had to watch a comedy afterwards. I felt so depressed after that movie. I was like, "Holy crap!"
It's a gut-wrenching film, and it's one of the few Christopher Walken Well, this is early Christopher Walken, so it's before like you get those Walkenisms, but it's a very subtle Walken performance compared to what we know of.
I still think De Niro and Meryl are the two best in it.
Yeah.
I mean that's also De Niro in his prime at that point. But talking about Platoon, I think I was like maybe 12. I just remember my dad renting it, and he's like, "You're gonna watch this movie because you need to know what it was like over there." Because my dad was in Vietnam. He's like, "You need to know what it was like over there." I was like, "Okay, Dad."
Yeah, my dad. When he came of age, they had implemented the lottery system. So he did not get picked, but I know some of his buddies did, like, because it was during the whole draft thing, and they did some sort of lottery system.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what Charlie Sheen's character? Is that why he's there?
Doesn't Charlie Sheen's character? Didn't he volunteer? Because isn't there an exchange with him and Keith David where Keith David's like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. My Pepaw was in World War II, and he was like, "Well, maybe I should volunteer." And my Pepaw said, "Son, if they want you, they will come and get you. Do not volunteer unless that's just."
I am just so glad that I have autism and flat feet, so I can never join the military.
Well, I'm pushing 40, but
me and Chris have aged out.
Yeah, well, I think they up it to like 40 something in a crisis, but.
Oh, well, I thought it was 36, wasn't it? Like, isn't that
it's 36, and then it's up over 40. Is it 40? 5, maybe. If they just
They won't take me either because I'm diabetic. So
my back's give out. I can't really. I'm probably gonna have surgery on it. If I don't
Yeah,
get
and obviously having a learning disability, I would not know what to do.
Yeah, it's just with this stuff with Russia. Thank God we won't. Anyway, I'm not gonna get political.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure where I live, where there is no threats to Russia, they will not bomb here, and I'm assuming where you guys live, there is 0 threats there as well.
Oh no, it just depends on what kind of fallout and the range, and Houston being a major shipping channel and oil and gas supply, that's probably going to be one of the first to go. So, and we're about 4 hours, so it depends on fallout. Not to get all Mad Max and depressing.
For us, it'll be Children of Men, and that's in a couple years' time.
Yeah.
Vendetta. It could happen that way.
God, I watched V for Vendetta in the summer of 2020, and it was kind of depressing.
Yeah, we started to watch it,
and Lindsay was fantastic.
That's what.
It's a fantastic movie. I was just like, oh, this feels a little more real now.
Yeah. That's what we started watching it, Lindsay and I, and she was like, "You know what? This is way too depressing." I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for this right now.
Let's just watch the parody version, Brazil.
Brazil is so brilliant.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the Wachowskis just like Brazil, so they like focus. I was like, that had to be an influence on them when they wrote the screenplay, even though it's based on a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Do they have the draft in the UK, or is it like here, Robbie, where like you just have to like sign a thing when you turn 18 and then
you register.
You just register.
My wallet. I haven't ripped it or burned it yet. So.
I'm not sure. They have cadets for like the young like children, but I don't know. But some of them don't join the army afterwards. I just think it's just to keep kids off the street.
That's probably like ROTC here.
We do that for our colleges. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find this a fun sequence. And did anyone else think the son looked like he was related to the kid from Moonrise Kingdom?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson should get the kid from Come On in a film.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think he was really good, and I would like to see him if Wes Anderson does another story revolving around children.
Is that good? I haven't seen that yet, and I want to.
I loved it. It's a very slow burn, though, because there's not really a lot.
The characters and the story, and obviously the interviews and the shots, they make the movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Joaquin Phoenix is a journalist, and he's interviewing kids across the country about what they think the future is going to be. And it's about his kind of dysfunctional relationship with his sister, and he kind of has to take on
his nephew,
taking care of his nephew,
because it's got bipolar.
So it's just that dynamic, but I really liked it a lot.
And they go to different cities as well, and the cinematography really captures like their journey throughout it. And there is a brilliant shot where they're walking through the park, and there's a big tree behind them, and it's one of the best shots I've seen of 2021.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a largely ignored movie at awards seasons other than the Independent Spirit Awards, but it's a really beautiful, sweet movie.
I went to see it because I wanted to see what Joaquin was like after the Joker movie, so I was happy that he played more like grounded kind of role in that.
Yeah, he's a versatile actor. I know he's a weird,
it's just because
an intense guy.
Jack Nicholson's not been the same since he played the Joker, so I was a little bit worried about Joaquin doing the same.
I mean, look, I like Jack Nicholson's Joker, but that's just Jack Nicholson being the Joker.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
think The Shining must have done some damage to him before that, anyway.
yeah.
The what?
Even The Shining, even though
that to be a really hard role to play, Jack.
Even though he did not receive the brunt of verbal abuse from Stanley Kubrick.
Right.
Yeah.
I still like my favorite Jack Nicholson.
I always think that Wes Anderson is the new Stanley Kubrick because they both have like strict filmmaking kind of styles, and they are both like very artists. They both like to go all out with their productions.
Mm-hmm. And it's very much about making things symmetrical and matching with the colors.
The only difference is their writing. Wes is better with original stories, whereas most of Stanley's films are based on books.
I was fixing to say, did Kubrick ever do a movie that was original? Because I think everything was based off something.
He wrote the book and did the film at the same time, so I don't know.
That's right. Arthur C. Clarke was writing the book while he was writing the screenplay at the same time.
He is from Stratford, the next town over from me, Arthur Clarke.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a Warwickshire boy.
How about that?
But we don't have a parade for him like we do with Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Do you get a parade for Wes Anderson because you live in Texas?
No, I don't even think most Texans know who Wes Anderson is, except for us nerdy movie people.
There should be a Wes Anderson Day.
There should be on the shortest of the year. There should be a statue of him somewhere in Texas.
I mean, you could probably do a segment about famous people you didn't know were Texans.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people didn't know Meatloaf was from Dallas.
You can tell with the Wilsons and Matthew McConaughey because they got the accent.
Oh, you can clearly tell with McConaughey, yeah. I don't think anyone's surprised.
He seems quite like a nice guy. I'm assuming all Texans are like the ones that are in that Family Guy episode.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey does seem like a down-to-earth, chill kind of dude. Somebody I'd probably want to have a drink with, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think he's kind of,
you know, like
I follow him on Facebook, and it seems like his head is really inflated, like he's really into but you know, he's also into the self-help kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's what's good about him.
Yeah, like he's really good to fans, and you know, he is down to earth. And like during 2020, he went and collected like medical masks and stuff and drove them around to the hospitals, and which I'm pretty sure was part PR stunt, and you know, but I really think it was him wanting to help. So I thought it was cool. And he gives out turkeys, you know, around neighborhoods and stuff around Thanksgiving, and donates and stuff. Does a lot for Austin. So yeah, he's pretty chill, pretty cool.
Nice. Luke Wilson hasn't done a movie with Wes Anderson for a while.
Since Tenenbaums.
Did they fall out or something?
I don't know, because you know, Luke Wilson, you don't see that much anymore. I don't know if like maybe he just is raising a family, or is like, I don't really want to act that much anymore. You know, maybe
I think he's just getting older, and they just
No, Luke. Oh, he's in that Stargirl show right now.
Yeah, they both they got that Marvel and DC money going on, and I think they're in that point in their career where they're comfortable, and they're just I know it wasn't Owen that had some issues.
Well, he did. Well, it's been over a decade ago. It was around the time.
What does Andrew Wilson do? The biggest role I've seen him do is Drew Barrymore's Whippet.
Oh, well, you know, he's Future Man in Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's literally his two probably biggest roles to date.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably just, hey, I'm the other Wilson brother, like that guy that was on Westworld that's the other Hemsworth brother.
Yeah. The other brother. We don't talk about him.
It's a bit like the Manning brothers. We don't talk about Cooper.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I didn't even know there was a Cooper Manning.
Really?
I didn't know.
You haven't seen the Simpsons episode where they all cameo?
I haven't watched The Simpsons in forever.
You don't even rewatched all the classic ones?
I mean, I don't know if that can't be a classic one because that's, the show's.
Those are like the ones from seasons 1 to 8.
Well, I mean, I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but yeah, I haven't watched The Simpsons probably since '99.
I like The Simpsons, but I became a really big King of the Hill fan myself. Like, if you really want to understand Texas, watch do yourself a favor and watch King of the Hill.
Texas is Beavis and Butthead and take place in Texas too?
Yes.
My favorite animated show of all time, and it's my favorite TV show of all time. It's BoJack Horseman.
Oh, it's so good, but
I've heard it's good, but I haven't seen
it. It's not like a funny haha comedy though. It's kind of like a comedy that messes you up.
But it's realistic.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a very good portrayal of depression.
And like the whole deep meaning.
Yeah. But I thought I heard Lindsay in the background. Am I wrong?
She's right here.
I'm in the side ground. I'm here now.
Yeah, she's on the
side ground. I want to know Lindsay's thoughts on this movie.
Lindsay's thoughts on this movie. I really liked, instead of necessarily like one solid story, I definitely like and prefer the little snapshots given to you by the stories. Also, the name of the town is hilarious because it feels like we all live there right now.
So you like how it was structured like you were reading the magazine, like it just took you from the story to story.
Yeah, it felt like I hate to keep mentioning them, but it felt like a Nat Geo, like reading through like a much smaller scale publication.
Speaking of someone who's a Nat Geo nerd, I bet you Wes Anderson is.
He has to be because all his Nat Geos keep showing up in his other movies.
Yeah, you'll see in the background, you'll see a huge collection. I'm one of those that love to boast of my collection of National Geographic magazines. I have some going back into the 40s. I have one that came with I don't know if you guys know that they used to do this, but with certain like Mad Magazine and Marvel did it once. They would print. It was on a flimsier material, but it was like a record that they could print and ship as a fold out or an insert in magazines and comics. So you could pull it out and punch it out, and it would be the shape of a disc. You could pull it out of the magazine or the comic, and you could play it on your record player. And it would be like a promotional piece or something like that. And I have a National Geographic, and it was from when Churchill passed away, and it was the broadcast that they had of his funeral. It was a live broadcast that they had recorded, and they shipped it in the National Geographic that was dedicated. That was they had a special issue that covered his funeral and talked about his life and stuff like that. Anyway, just cool. I'm rambling.
No, it is cool. I like that feeling. Also, the scene in the art story where Benicio del Toro just he comes up to his younger self and pats him on the head and then takes his place to show the passage of time. That was sweet, even if he was,
a condemned psychopath that it says on his uniform.
Yeah.
which they don't say that in real life. What was your favorite story?
I don't want to jump on the bandwagon, but it really is the story that's supposed to be the food story, but it's not really about the food.
Yeah, that was mine too.
The poisoned radishes.
With Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And the fact that the little boy was like, I don't like radishes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why they did it.
Saved him.
They knew.
Oh, yes.
What is that song called that's played throughout the movie? The one that Jarvis Cocker sings? I'd just like to make a playlist of Wes Anderson movies, the songs.
I think they've made it, like, of all the soundtracks, that his needle drops.
Is it Aline? Is that how you say it? Hold on.
No, I also like that while we're finding the answer to that question about the song, I like in that story that the chef is able to survive the poisoning because of all the food he's eaten in his life or cooked, that his stomach can keep him alive while they resuscitate him. Because, you know, like they say that about people who can handle like really spicy food, like they got an iron stomach or something.
It'd be cool if they added a segment of a film critic.
Oh, that would have been something. That would have rounded out the stories.
It would have. That could have been the last segment.
Very
the film.
Very off topic, but I gotta say, I think my favorite sequence of including a movie critic within a movie is in Gremlins 2, where Leonard Maltin reviews the original Gremlins and the Gremlins kill him.
Yes.
I am so glad you didn't say Lady in the Water just then.
Well, of course not, because even though that has Bob Bamblin in it, that's just, you know, M. Night. Like, oh, you don't like my movies, huh? How dare you? I'm going to kill the movie critic off.
Yeah.
Literally.
What else do we want to talk about this movie? I think it's really well done because it's Wes Anderson and it's shot by Robert Yeaman.
Okay.
And I think...
Okay, you said because I loved it and Justin Doyle hated it, and you said you're in the middle. What are your flaws of this movie?
I guess that there are flaws is that even though I like the structure of the different stories, that it's like we're reading a magazine, I feel like it kind of also detaches me from like really connecting with the movie or the stories as much or the characters.
I get your point, but the film isn't really about being attached to the characters. It's more about seeing that this paper's like final exit and they're trying to make it the best one it can be.
Oh, I totally get that. That's just a me personal thing of how I usually fall in love with a movie, is I usually get engrossed either in the story.
Famous, we love every single one of the characters.
And what?
Almost Famous, isn't that your favorite movie?
Yeah, no, I don't love all the characters, but I do feel a really big attachment to William as the main character.
I can't believe you brought that up because I'm watching that this weekend. I literally this morning said, hey, for some reason, I want to watch Almost Famous.
I'm doing.
And I
want to do a John Toll cinematography list.
I mean, I was also around the same age as the character when the movie came out, so... Like,
did you go off with Rolling Stone?
No, I didn't. I don't have a cool story like that of when I was 15 years old.
That movie, I'm like you, Cody. I was around the same age, and my dad, who was he played in a rock band back in the late 60s and 70s, and, you know, did all that. You know, he wasn't famous or anything, but played in a lot of bars.
I think Almost Famous is better than Jerry Maguire out of Cameron Crowe films.
In my personal opinion, yes.
It
I'm
just
not a big
feels like
fan of
with
Jeremy
Cameron
Black.
Crowe, he made Vanilla Sky and it went downhill from there.
Yeah, it's been kind of very mildly entertaining to bad. I don't think Elizabethtown is horrible, and I think We Bought a Zoo is pretty decent, but Aloha is just a wreck. It's just a train
Is
wreck
it
of
is
a
it, is
movie.
it
Isn't that
worse
where-
than Vanilla Sky?
Yes, it's worse than Vanilla Sky because at least Vanilla Sky has a narrative. It
Just
may
Isn't that
be
where-
weird.
Isn't that where they tried to pull "You Only Live Twice" and
Oh
make
yeah, they make
Asian-
Emma Stone. They
Asian,
say Emma Stone as Hawaiian or Polynesian or whatever island they're on, and people are like, "What? No."
I heard they did makeup or CG or something for her eyes to make them like more.
Her eyes are already big enough. You don't need to put CGI on them and make her look
I-
like a
I-
reader.
Not CG, but like they pulled her eyes to make them look, like they did. With
I don't
Bond.
remember if they did that. I just remember they were trying to make her like a native of the island.
I still
that
need
they're-
to see Breakfast at Tiffany's, but I will take him.
Oh,
Mickey
ooh,
Mouse bit.
talk about something that does not age well. I can't even believe they got away with that in 1961 whenever.
That stands out because I remember. Have you seen Dragon, the Bruce Lee story?
No, but I know the sequence you're talking about. I think I've seen that part where he and his wife are at the theater and he like walks out.
Yeah, they're
When
showing
that-
that particular scene, and I was like, man, that's good for you, Bruce.
Which is one of the controversial things people are mad at Quentin Tarantino about too, is about him talking bad about Bruce Lee's fighting skills.
I
yeah.
thought the actor who played Bruce Lee in that movie did really well.
He did, but I don't think. Look, I know Quentin loves Bruce Lee movies. That's why he threw the character in there. But I don't think he needs to assume how good of a fighter Bruce Lee was for his fictional story.
And it's all based off of rumors anyway. That the certain stuntman beat the crap out of Bruce Lee one day, but it's all off of hearsay.
That movie is just meant to be fictional because at the end of the day,
Right.
Leo wasn't there with flamethrower to save Sharon Tate.
Yeah,
right.
no, I don't have anything against the movie or even that sequence. It's just this like sometimes Tarantino needs to just not open his mouth about certain things.
Who do you think's a better director, Quentin or Wes?
Now we're just talking sheerly craftsmanship as a director, right? Not personally as a
Yes.
person. Because I would probably rather hang out with Wes Anderson as a human being.
Yeah,
Even though he's probably a perfectionist and meticulous, I have never heard like nasty things about Wes Anderson like on set.
Yeah, I can tell Quentin Tarantino could be a bit of a dick in real life.
I think Quentin Tarantino very much loves the sound of his own voice.
Oh, he does.
I think I'm going to have to go Tarantino just because I think he's very good at constructing a screenplay, like his structure.
Yeah, he's a better writer. He's a fantastic, phenomenal, probably the best writer in Hollywood.
But they are so different aesthetics and skill set. It's kind of unfair to say one's better than the other. It's kind of more just what you personally like more.
And then you have the Coen brothers who are just the best.
Oh, yeah, they're also their own style too. Like each three of these are unique directors. Like if you just popped on a movie, you could be like, oh, well, that's one of their movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there anything else about this last story or this movie we want to bring up before we get to rankings? And then
I think
Chris,
we should go ahead and rank this.
Yeah.
do you remember the rankings, Robbie?
Sorry, Cody. Do you mind going through it again?
Sure, let's go through them again. if you love this movie, you think it's one of Anderson's best, you think it's a masterpiece. It's a great ensemble because of how matchy he is in real life and in his movies. If you think it's a delightful, entertaining film, solid, nice attire. If you think this is a little more obscure, it's for fans and cinephiles only, deep dive. If you feel like it's a little mediocre, doesn't quite hit the mark, we're going to say style over substance. And then if it's a complete disaster, it's horrible, it didn't work at all, it's a beautiful failure.
Okay, I'm going to give you a really fair answer because even though I personally enjoyed this movie, I think it is just for if you love Wes Anderson movies. If you love Wes Anderson movies, if you're a fan of Wes Anderson, I think with Justin, because he doesn't really follow directors as much and he just goes off entertainment, I don't think this is why it was his particular movie of choice. But obviously, me and you love Wes Anderson, that's why we both like the movie. So yeah, I'm going to give it to the cinephile one.
Okay, so deep dive, yeah. I can see that. Chris, Lindsay, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna have to go with either a nice attire or a deep dive as well because
be around
again,
them too.
Like I understand why not everybody liked it, but knowing that we like most of all the other Wes Anderson movies, I found a lot of it to be enjoyable. And quirky and entertaining, but I also get why the general audience, it probably went over their head.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go with deep dive.
Yeah, and is Lindsay in the room or is she?
Yeah, she's right here. She's right here.
Sorry,
okay.
guys. I agree with a deep dive because I think that the presentation of the story, the way it's chopped up into its own little pieces without necessarily being about a larger plot that makes you maybe more attached to certain characters. I think that's what we're used to, and that's not in this. And I think that there are so many different little nods to different media that it's for cinephiles and I guess Wes Anderson fans specifically, and that's what makes it a deep dive to me.
Well, I guess I'm going to join the train here. I was leaning towards nice attire, but I really do think it probably is more a deep dive because I do feel like you kind of have to be a fan for this one. It isn't the Grand Budapest Hotel where there's like a plot and a story.
The friend I went to see the French Dispatch with, she couldn't get into the French Dispatch. No, not French Dispatch, Grand Budapest Hotel. But she loves all of Wes Anderson's other movies.
That's probably because that's his most conventional film of all of them. But yeah, I feel like if you don't like Wes Anderson, if you don't like his aesthetic or you don't like his humor, this one's only going to infuriate you. Like, you're just going to be like, oh, well, there he goes again with the matchy and weird stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a delightfully entertaining movie. And if you're a fan, you should like it. I heard one person review this as the brunch of movies. And I watched it this morning, and it is a good movie to like have like your little morning snack with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And read your paper, but it's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys surprised I like this movie more than Grand Budapest?
A little, but it is all subjective. It's your personal taste, and
so I feel like with Wes Anderson movies, you can assemble them into any order, and nobody should judge you about it.
Well, I mean, when we get to the Coen brothers, which we're going to be doing soon, I guarantee you we could all do a top 5, and we could almost all have 5 different films on our list.
You're surprised that Ballad of Buster Scruggs is high for me.
I am, and we'll see how it sits for me on rewatch, but it's more of an entertaining one for me than one that I love, because it's also... the different stories, and some of the stories don't click as well as others.
The original third was A Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
Lebowski and Oh Brother are probably my probably my top 3 or 4.
Fargo's my favorite.
Yeah,
That's a
Fargo.
masterpiece.
3 or 4, 5. Top
So we
5.
did finish a director series. So Chris, Lindsay, I want to, and you guys don't have to do it particularly, but I want to kind of rank them in your personal opinion.
Yeah,
But
well, Cody, you know half of mine anyway.
But I do want to ask you guys all a question. He has already shot his next movie. It supposedly is coming out this year. Do we think it's going to come out this year?
No, I think it'll be next year.
You think it'll be 2023?
Yeah.
It'll
Okay.
probably be either late this year or early next year.
You know what it might happen is it might be like a late December, early January release.
So it'll probably come out for me in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. Because you guys get a lot of our awards contingents later.
The David O. Russell film that sounds good because it's got an ensemble cast and Emmanuel Lubezki's doing the cinematography and the woman that did the Joker music is doing the score.
Mm-hmm.
So I reckon that'll be like the next big ensemble film.
Hopefully. He's very hit or miss for me, and also he's just a horrible person in real life.
Didn't you love The Fighter?
The Fighter is very good, mostly for the performances. I think Three Kings is still my favorite film of his. But I've never seen his first 2 movies. But I did not like Joy at all.
I like Joy.
I felt like he was really, really trying to be Scorsese even more so than he was in American Hustle.
It reminded me more of Amelie.
It's got a little bit of that in it. But, all right. Chris, Lindsay, you can rank them best to least or least to best, however you want to. Let me know what you think.
Just his movies in general,
yeah, just Wes Anderson's movies, his filmography. We've covered the entire filmography, all 10 movies.
Okay, here's mine. If I can remember them,
I'm gonna pull up a list for you.
Yeah, help me. Lindsay's gonna pull up a list for me. I want to make sure I get everything down right, but
I'm just trying to remember mine in my head.
Oh, you're going to participate too, Robbie? You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to, go ahead.
All right. Well, my least favorite is the Life Aquatic of Steve. This do. Then it'd be Bottle Rocket. Then the Jar Limited, the Jarlini Limited. Then after this is all the good ones. Rushmore, Fantastic Mr. Fox, the Grand Budapest Hotel, the Royal Tenenbaums. I'm not missing any more, am I?
I'm pulling up my list right now. Let me see here.
Royal Tenenbaums. Isle of Dogs.
Okay, so far, no. You've hit them all.
And Moonrise Kingdom. So yeah, that's mine.
all right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I'll go from least to favorite or favorite to least.
However you want to do it.
Okay, I'll go favorite to least.
Okay.
Which is really difficult. So I'm just gonna I really don't have a number one spot. They're just, again, these are the ones that I would probably go to the most for rewatch ability.
Okay, go for it.
I will go Grand Budapest, Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic, Bottle Rocket. Let's see, French Moonrise Kingdom, French Dispatch, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs, Darjeeling, Rushmore.
Okay.
I like Rushmore more than everybody else said.
Yeah, Rushmore was good, but it's probably lower on my list. I don't know.
You guys, we discussed it in our episode. It was the teacher kind of letting the whole crush thing linger too much instead of shutting it down immediately.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't really do anything bad, she just kind of lets it linger more than she should. Okay, Lindsay, what do you got? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna try to go best to least favorite. I'm gonna say Bottle Rocket is my favorite.
Oh wow.
It's just I'm a sucker for like early works and like baby's first memories type versions of someone's filmography. Like that was their first few steps, and it seems to be a lot lower stakes plot wise.
Well, for sure.
Let's see. Okay, and then I said Bottle Rocket, and then it's probably French Dispatch.
Wow.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm gonna bump Royal Tenenbaums, and then French Dispatch, and then Moonrise Kingdom. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Grand Budapest.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad because we've watched all of these, but I just don't remember Darjeeling that well. So Darjeeling Limited.
Mm-hmm.
And then I missed. Okay, Isle of Dogs. Rushmore, and then Life Aquatic.
Okay.
I don't think I missed any.
No, that's all 10.
Okay.
All right.
And Isle of Dogs is not bad. It's sad.
I don't think any of these movies are bad. I think it's just, for me, it's personal preference. Like Chris said, rewatchability, and also just kind of like which one checks more of your boxes for you.
Entertainment value.
Yeah. So here's mine. I'm going to do least to best. So I guess I liked French Dispatch the least out of all of us because I have it at number 10. Then I'm going to do Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, come on. French Dispatch a much better movie than Darjeeling Limited.
It's the sibling thing for me and Darjeeling Limited, like the family connection there. That
sorry, I don't have any brothers or sisters.
Oh, that's fine.
I know you have a brother.
Mm-hmm. And a sister. And then it's going to be Life Aquatic because I love the stop motion, and I think Bill Murray does a really solid performance.
And the bloke playing David Bowie.
Oh, yeah. That's like, yeah, right up there. All the David Bowie covers. Then it's going to be Bottle Rocket. I really liked it more as we discussed. Actually, most of these movies I've liked more doing this whole thing and just talking in depth about all of them. Then it's Rushmore. Then it's going to be Isle of Dogs. That's just because it's personally, Wes Anderson did me a solid and made a movie for me. So thank you, Wes. Then Fantastic Mr. Fox. And then Moonrise Kingdom. And then, Chris, you're my number 1 and number 2 were flip-flop. My number 2 is Grand Budapest. My number 1 is Royal Tenenbaums. That's still a personal favorite for me.
And Cody, I want to thank you for letting me talk about my top 3 favorites.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming on the show every week this month to be our guest.
I might as well just become a regular now.
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
It's going to be wild on our Alien episode if we have 6 people on here talking Alien.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for it, though.
I'd love to talk Alien.
It's going to look like those snapshots of all the fights.
Yeah, I probably won't come for every episode, just the odd one every now and again.
Well, you can...
We've got my own podcast, and Cody comes on there every now and again.
Well, you're definitely welcome for especially a lot of the Ridley Scott ones where we're double featuring because we have no guests. And yeah, so if you want,
I'm interested in doing Kingdom of Heaven because I want to watch that one. I need to
oh,
watch it.
So good.
And please watch such underrated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do yourself a favor and watch the director's cut.
I'll try and find it.
If you can find it, yeah. Totally worth it.
Well, if you guys haven't been enjoying our Wes Anderson series, it is coming to a close for now until Asteroid City is released either sometime this year or next year. We will come back and talk about that movie, but for now, it's the end of a series and we're starting a new series. Next week, we will begin our descent into the wild and strange filmography of Ridley Scott. And that's going to be the director we're covering in the month of February. We'll be talking those first 4 films. Justin Doyle is joining us to talk The Duelist, his directorial debut. And then this Wednesday on our late night show, we're going to be going into a time loop because we're talking Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Yay, I love
Groundhog Day and
what day is Groundhog Day?
Palm Springs.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So, yeah.
On our show night, so it kind of worked out.
On the 5th of January.
The 2nd February, Groundhog Day.
February.
Yeah.
I think I can try and whip up a review on that day of it.
Robbie, would you like to plug your show while you're here?
Yes. Cody has been on the Fleming Film Show, mine and Justin Doyle's podcast. Last we spoke about movies about Hollywood, and the week before that we spoke about Baz Luhrmann movies. Check out this week, we're going to be talking about Tom Cruise movies.
Nice.
And you can catch this on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And if you guys like this series, keep watching. We got Ridley Scott coming. We're also going to be doing the Coens this year, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching.
They didn't call it the creepy but hilarious universe of the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I steal that from you?
Yes. The creepy but hilarious.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're doing it. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And please read important literature, no matter what people say, because literature is important, and comic books are not just superheroes. There are lots of great works of art in comic book industry. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you are watching.
And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks and goodbye. And thank you again, Robbie. I really appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, Cody. Always a pleasure. I have fun doing this with you guys.
All righty. And we're going to call it a day.
Bye-bye.